Welcome back to The Stacks, a podcast about books and the people who read them. I'm your host, Tracy Thomas, and our guest today is the author of Black Card, Chris L. Terry. Chris tells us about his lightly satirical novel, his experiences as a mixed kid, and why he doesn't have a go-to book recommendation. Before we dive in, I want to remind you, in the show notes, there's a link. That link will take you to all the books discussed on today's episode, as well as the social media accounts for The Stacks and our guest. Plus, if you shop through the links on Amazon, you're helping to keep The Stacks free. If you're in need of a book recommendation, send us an email at askingthestacks@gmail.com. Myself and my guests will read it on air and give you a personalized book recommendation. So email askingthestacks@gmail.com with your name, what you're looking for, and maybe a few titles you've loved or hated. If you like The Stacks and want to support the work we're doing here are a few easy ways you can help. Join us on Patreon. You earn perks like our virtual book club, and you get to connect with other listeners of this podcast. Plus, you get to rest easy knowing your contribution helps make this show possible. So head over to patreon.com/thestacks and be a part of this fantastic community. The last thing you can do is the easiest. Subscribe to The Stacks. Leave us a rating and a review. Plus, you can tell folks about this show. Tell your mom, your book club, your local bookseller, the cute girl sitting next to you at the coffee shop. Please do not be creepy. Tell them all about The Stacks. If you like the show, scream it from the rooftops or at least from your Twitter page. Okay, you've been more than patient. Now let's talk with Chris L. Terry. Okay, you guys, I'm so excited. I'm sitting here today with author Chris L. Terry. His newest book is called Black Card. Chris, welcome to The Stacks.
Thank you for having me on.
I'm so excited you're here. We're going to talk about your book today, but first let's kind of just start with like a little bit about yourself, maybe a little background, where you're from, how you got to writing, that spiel.
Sure. I was born in the Boston area, and I moved to Richmond, Virginia when I was 15. My mom's a children's librarian, and I always like to read. Some of my favorite stuff to do in school, like the first time I cared about my homework was a creative writing assignment. And that carried forward. I have a couple, an English degree, a creative writing degree, and I got seriously into writing in my early 30s.
Amazing. And so you didn't have the impulse to rebel against reading because your mom was a librarian?
No, which is... It's ironic because this is maybe the one time I didn't rebel. I was like, yeah, okay. I like books.
You're like, I'm into this. Were you reading stuff that she wanted you to read, or were you reading stuff that you found on your own?
So that's where it got a little rebellious. I have so many memories of going to the library as a kid. I can still picture this like blue rainbow tote bag that she had that we would just fill up with books every 3 weeks. But I think by the time I was a teenager, I wanted to choose what I was reading a bit more. And I was reading like a lot of music magazines and punk rock self-published zines and things like that.
Okay.
And she'd be like, why don't you read a real book? And I'm like, fuck you.
So she was not like, as long as they're reading. Because that's like the new school parenting, right?
Yeah.
It's like whatever they want.
I'm sure she was glad I was reading. Okay. But I think she had a point that I could have been reading something besides record reviews. Okay. You know?
And what was she into? What kind of reading was she into?
You know, she's pretty widely read, honestly.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Librarian.
Yeah, but she's a children's librarian who specializes in pre-literacy stuff. Okay. So she's got like books for young readers and children's books, or she has a whole catalog of them.
What is pre-literacy?
That's like stuff that you would read to a kid before the kid was learning how to read.
Oh, like something that the parent would read to the kid.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I'm like, what's a pre-literacy book? If you're not literate, how are you reading? But obviously... I'm not a children's librarian. Okay, so your book, Black Card. Well, wait, hold on. I know what I want to say first. In addition to all those things, you also were a musician, are a musician.
Yeah.
Punk band.
Yeah.
Traveled. Well, that comes into your book. So I want you to tell us a little bit about that part of you.
Sure.
Yeah.
From like late high school till my early mid-20s, I spent all of my free time singing in different punk rock bands in Richmond, Virginia. Okay. And I should say shouting, not singing. Okay. I can't carry a tune in a bucket.
Really?
Yeah, it's ironic. I feel like I have kind of a smooth voice.
Right.
But I can't sing.
But you were a singer.
Or a shouter. You know, it was pretty abrasive music.
I guess I don't know what punk rock is. Like, what's like the most famous punk rock?
I'd like the Ramones or the Clash or Fugazi, who are all probably like catchier and more melodic than the stuff we were making.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a lot of screaming, electric guitars, hard drums. And the band that I was in that did the most was called Light the Fuse and Run, like what it says on firecrackers.
Right. Okay.
And we went around the U.S. a couple of times. I think I've played in 44 of the 48 contiguous states.
Wow.
We went through all the Southern Canada and did like 8 or 9 countries in Europe.
And when was this?
This was by the time I was 24. So it would have been like the early 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just bring that up because it comes up in your book a lot.
Sure.
Your book is called Black Card. Why don't you should tell us what it's about? Because if I do it, I'll do a less good job.
Oh, okay. It's always cool to hear what other people
I could
take away
try
from it.
it.
But you go first.
So I'm going to try? Okay.
Yeah.
So Black Card is a book by Chris L. Terry. It is a satire, kind of funny. I don't know if I would go full satire, but it's like a funny examination of our protagonist who is mixed, light-skinned black dude, doesn't really feel black all the time, has a friend who gives him his black card, and then, I don't know if that's a spoiler, and then it's revoked, basically. And the book follows our guy as he's trying to figure out what it means to be black so that he can get back his black card.
Yeah. He goes on a mission to win back his black card. He has like an actual card.
Yeah, it's a physical card.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
Thank you.
That part was really good. It like says like what you get to do when you're black, which I loved. It's like, okay, sandals and socks. I don't know.
Yeah. That I think works better in the South.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm a Californian black person. It doesn't feel like sandals and socks. Well, it was sandals and like flip flops.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sandals and Birkenstocks very in right now.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
So I was like, that's not too weird. But sandals and flip flops, I was not comfortable with that.
No? Snoop Dogg used to do that back when.
Okay. He's a Californian.
He's very, very LA.
Yeah. How did I do? Is that how you would describe the book?
Yeah, that's real good. Yeah, he goes on. So the narrator goes on a mission to win back his black card. And in the process, he's accused of a violent crime, which gives him kind of a more nuanced idea of blackness and of the way that the world sees him and the way that he's been interacting with the world.
Right.
And also makes him think a little bit harder about Lucius, his friend who's giving and taking away the black card.
So I saw you speak at S1 Books for your book event when your book first came out. It was like the day your book came out.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of going to bring in some of that conversation. I'll try to preface it for you guys at home. But you talked about how this book was you kind of working through some things yourself. We should say that you're mixed. You're a light-skinned mixed black dude.
Mm-hmm.
So the narrator and you share commonalities, also a punk band, though he's a bassist, not the singer.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of similarities. So I guess my question for you is, first, why do a novel instead of doing a memoir? Mm-hmm. And then I guess second, how much of you, Chris, is actually in this book, and how much of it do you feel like is fiction-y stuff that you created?
Sure. I wanted to write about some of my experience as trying to figure out my black identity in the punk scene, which at the time especially was very white and male.
Still is, right?
Sure. It's getting better.
Gets better. Okay.
But it still has a ways to go.
All right.
It's come a long way though, I'd say.
Okay.
And I wanted to do fiction because I think fiction, I could, make the character more exaggerated, kind of up the ante of his neurosis, and just make the story more exciting. If it was just sticking to my own life, it wouldn't be, as exciting a read. I could take more liberties.
Got it.
And also have a little distance from portraying people, like real people in my life.
Right.
So, I mean, the book is fiction, and I hope that no one from my life when I was younger picks it up and it's like, oh crap, this is based on me.
Right.
I didn't want that to happen because it wasn't like the point of my book was I didn't want to like take down a certain person who offended me when I was 21. That would be the pettiest thing possible. I'm not quite that petty.
That's what I would do in my book. I'd be like, oh, like Kara instead of Karen or something. Like really casual.
Yeah. There are his bandmates are Russell and Mason. There isn't a guy named like Muscle.
Okay.
Who's going to get real salty.
Okay. So but you are working through very real things that you, Chris, were working through.
Sure. I mean, you could picture the narrator as like a extra neurotic 21-year-old version of me. And the street names are real. A lot of the feelings and emotions and points of view are real.
Right.
It's just, put in a different story.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. And how would you call this book a satire?
I think I like the way you put it, that it's lightly satirical.
Yeah.
I don't think it's only a satire, but I think there is a satirical element. And I think that comes through in the way that the narrator is kind of exaggerated. I think good satire, like it exaggerates something to the point where it starts to seem kind of absurd, but it's still believable.
Right.
And I hope that I did that with my narrator. Also, it also can sometimes, I think good satire goes in the opposite direction and can reduce something that can seem kind of complex, big, or just kind of hard to wrap your head around into something really, really simple. For example, the physical black card that the character has.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think in your book, the satire definitely is much more in the beginning. Like it kind of sets it up and then it starts to feel much more real. I don't know if that's something that you did intentionally or if that's just my reading of it, but I definitely feel like in the beginning, I was like, these things are like absurd and like it's a black card and how funny and how quirky. And then as our narrator gets more and more shit happens, as things get more serious for him, I feel like it starts to pull away kind of the funny.
Yeah. I think it gets progressively less funny and a little trippier and also a little bit more of a twist to the gut. As the book goes on, I wanted it to get progressively more and more uncomfortable.
Okay. You did that. I feel that.
Okay.
Because towards the end I was like, I'm not having as much fun. Like, I don't know if I like this as much.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I put you got to put some sugar in the medicine, and that's the funny stuff. But yeah, there's more sugar up top.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But there are parts throughout. Like, there's a part later in the book where you go through the different kinds of guys in punk bands, and I thought that was really funny. Though doesn't mean anything to me because I don't know anything about punk bands, but it meant something to me because I know those guys.
Sure.
Like, you don't have to know punk band to know the guy who gets too drunk or the guy who's like takes everything way too serious and thinks everything's like, the Grand Ole Opry or whatever. Not that that's where punk people go.
They could. You never know. Yeah. Crappy dudes are crappy dudes, and punk is a subculture, so it's kind of a microcosm.
Right.
Yeah.
And in this book, he's also into funk.
Yeah.
A lot of funk. Is that you also?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I like a lot of different kinds of music. And one of the, my dad is a music lover and a guitar player. And one of the main ways that we bonded was I'd be listening to Public Enemy or something, and he'd be like, I recognize those drums. That's from a James Brown record.
Oh
I got that 45. Hold on, let me get that out. And so, yeah, I do love a lot of black music from the 60s, 70s, plus 80s, 90s, and today.
Right. You're like the Wave or whatever in LA.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I'll go back and forth between the Wave. I'll hear a Sade song, then go to K-Day and listen to some rap.
Yeah.
But I wanted to show that this guy was using pop culture to kind of construct a black identity.
Right.
And running up against some of those limitations, because some of the ways that black people are represented in pop culture, especially roughly 20 years ago when the book is set, were it's really reductive.
Right.
So he's kind of having this conflict of if I want to be black, then I have to be black like I'm seeing on TV, but this isn't really me. So am I black?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the big central question is, am I black or am I black enough or am I the right kind of black?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Because there's definitely a certain kind of black that he's trying to be.
Mm-hmm.
He's not trying to be like Hotep.
No.
He's trying to be a very specific, I guess, urban. Yeah. Kind of, I guess, I don't know. Who would if you could pick someone that you would say, this is the person that he's aiming towards?
Sure.
Did you have that in mind?
I picture him as wanting to be kind of cool and mainstream, and he's just far too weird.
Who was that though?
I don't know.
In 2000,
Mekhi Phifer, maybe.
Great in O, the Othello remake with Julia Stiles. Wasn't that him?
I think so.
And he's also in 8 Mile.
He's in 8 Mile.
I think he plays Othello.
Okay, is that the one where they're all rapping and it's got the guy from Juice in it?
No, it's with Josh Hartnett.
Oh, okay. Please don't let Josh Hartnett rap.
It's Josh Hartnett, Julia Stiles, and I think Mekhi Phifer.
Okay, I believe it.
But it's really great. It's a really great film.
These are some like early 2000s Hollywood deep cuts right here.
Yeah, that's a really important movie in my life as a Shakespeare lover and a Julia Stiles fan at the time. Save the Last Dance. Great film.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think who else was like really cool.
I even think of like maybe young Ghostface Killer or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he also like tries really hard, like way too hard, aggressively caricature hard.
Yeah.
But that's real. Like you and I are both mixed. So we both have I can't speak for you, but I'm sure there have been times in your life where you felt like, oh, am I black enough? Am I doing it right?
Sure.
And for me, it wasn't until in the last maybe 10, 15 years that I even understood that whole idea was super racist and dumb.
Yeah. Same for me. I had a similar experience when I was embarrassingly old, being like 30-ish and being like, oh yeah, this is definitely some nonsense.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Like that. And I can't remember who it was or what I was reading or listening to, but it was something along the lines of like, anything that a black person does or says is black.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know. I used to get the whole like, oh, I'm blacker than you because I know all the lyrics to this Wu-Tang song. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'm like, God, I feel really bad about myself. I don't know all the lyrics to this Wu-Tang. Like, what have I done in my life? And then I realized like, that's bullshit. And it's racist.
It is. And I mean, I know some like, I could probably, I know a few like try hard, low key racist white people who also know those Wu-Tang lyrics, and that doesn't make them black.
Right. Yeah. And I would never say, oh, I'm whiter than you because I know the lyrics to this Dolly Parton song. Like, that's such a ridiculous thing to say. And no one ever says that to white people.
That's true. I mean, that's because they're the supremacists.
Yeah. And they're the least cool.
This is true.
Yeah. Like no one's like, I'm trying to be a huge Dolly Parton fan. Like, what's up? Though, shout out to Dolly Parton. She's great.
She is. Yeah.
She's actually fantastic and I love her.
She's one of the good ones.
She is. She's hilarious. But that idea of, oh, I need to be doing certain things to be considered black and that there really was a scale of blackness. And I think that that's bullshit. But I didn't realize that I knew in my heart growing up that I didn't like when people would say that to me. Yeah. Like I knew that it made me really mad and irritated, but I don't think that I understood the reason that it did was because it was bullshit.
Yeah, I just internalized it. I was like, I don't like this and it makes me uncomfortable because clearly I don't measure up.
Right. Like I'm not good enough because I, whatever it is. I don't know. It's always rap music.
Oh, really?
I mean, I love rap music. I listen to rap music, but I don't know. I didn't know everybody's everything. I don't.
Yeah.
And, Black culture is massive. Black culture is American culture. So you really have to know every single thing. And if any person who's not black knows a little minor thing that you don't know, you're not black anymore. Sorry.
Yeah.
Give Chris your black card.
and I feel like, and if you're, a generation or two older than us, you'd be like, what is this rap crap? What do you mean you don't know all these Lena Horne songs or something?
Right, exactly. I feel like I did better with that. My dad was into music too. So I know all the old shit, I feel like. But when you were saying that your dad would be like, oh, I know that drum line or that bass line. Have you ever heard of a podcast called Dissect?
I have. I've listened to a little bit of that.
Have you? It made me think of that because I love that podcast. Speaking of people who are not cool but deeply entrenched in hip hop culture, the host of that show, Cole Kushner, he is like the nerdiest white boy ever, but he's so smart and good at music stuff. And he did the Kanye Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy album. And that one is like so many samples, and hearing him go back and go through made me think that older generations, like our parents' ages and whatever, would like that's a reason that they might be into hip hop because it references that music from their past.
Yeah. I'm getting in my dad's head again, but I remember he wasn't like a hip hop fan, but I think he'd be like, I want something new. I don't want someone spitting James Brown back at me because I heard that to death when I was a teenager.
Right, because I was listening to James Brown. Right. Yeah. Whereas I like the sampling.
Yeah.
I think it's really fun.
That was always, I'm a music dork. I try not to be one of those people who'd pull rank if someone didn't know all of the verse to a Wu-Tang song or something. But yeah, it was fun to kind of work back like that and be like, well, this is from this James Brown, and finding the sample and hey, I like this song too, and kind of following that like breadcrumb trail, a different culture was fascinating.
Well, if you're into that, you have to listen to Dissect. It's so good. He just started doing Damn. Kendrick Lamar Damn is in the new one. He's only like 3 or 4 episodes in. But I love the podcast, even though he's a total nerd and
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, but it is funny when he's like, and then he says, N-word, we're going to be all right. And I'm like, oh God, I just am so embarrassed for you right now. Yeah. Like, stop. But I love it. Valentine's Day is upon us, and I've got love on the brain. Love for books. Duh, of course. Hello. Did you forget what podcast you're listening to? I love bringing you all great reads, exclusive author interviews, and behind the scenes book gossip. But I can only do that with your support over on Patreon and Substack. Our Stacks Patreon community, also known as the Stacks Pack, is where you can go for book club meetups, a private, very active Discord, and a year-long mega reading challenge to help you achieve all your reading goals. Plus, you also get that monthly bonus episode. Now, over on the Substack, you can subscribe to my newsletter, Unstacked, where I keep the book conversations going. I also give you a healthy dose of sports and pop culture, definitely some hot takes happening over there. And again, that bonus episode. If you don't have a few dollars to spare, don't worry. There are free options on the Substack and the Patreon to get you a little extra Stacks magic. Making this podcast is a total team effort, and by supporting my Patreon and my Substack, you allow me to support my amazing team that makes the show possible every single week. So if you or your friends are looking to meet other book lovers and support this indie podcast, come hang out with me on Patreon, Substack, or both. I would love to have you. And since we're talking about love, you can gift subscriptions to the Patreon and the Substack for that special reader in your life. For the Stacks Pack, head to patreon.com/thestacks. And for the newsletter, head to traceythomas.substack.com. And also, there are links to both in the show notes. Okay, see you in the Stacks. Okay, we're going to transition a little bit from your book to your reading habits. But first, we do this little mini segment. It's called Ask the Stacks. Someone sent us an email. They're asking for a book recommendation. So I'm going to read it to you, and you're going to try to come up with a book recommendation for this person.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little pop quiz for you. So this one comes from Charlotte, and she says, your podcast is one of my weekly things to look forward to. And even though my TBR, to be read, list is quite long already, I'm looking forward to receiving some more specific recommendations from you and your guest. I enjoy nonfiction books that cover social issues, preferably with a true crime component, and literary fiction that deals with immigration, identity, and belonging. Some of my favorites have been Missoula, Seven Fallen Feathers, Killers of the Flower Moon, and then for fiction, she says, What We Were Promised, Everyone Knows You Go Home, and Americana. So I'll go first. I'll give you a little time.
Yeah.
I only did nonfiction, Charlotte, because I am who I am. So my first one is The Faraway Brothers. It's by Lauren Markham. It came out maybe 2 years ago, and it's about 2 brothers who come, I believe they're twins. They come to California from El Salvador, and Lauren writes their story. And in the interest of full disclosure, she ends up working at the school that they go to when they get to the Bay Area. So she knows the boys personally, but also does a ton of extensive research. So it's not really true crime, but it mixes a more personal narrative with a bigger, broader picture of immigration. Another one I would suggest is The Autobiography of an Execution by David R. Dow. It's all about the death penalty, and it's great. And then the last one is Going Clear by Lawrence Wright. So good.
Yep.
It's about Scientology. Chris and I both live in LA, so we're super into Scientology. I'm sure you can't really be here and not be like a little confused and excited about it. But intriguing. Lawrence Wright is a really amazing writer, historian. He wrote the book The Looming Tower about 9/11. He has a new book about Texas, but he's just great. And he really does a deep, deep, deep dive into Scientology. And I think it became an HBO show or miniseries. Anyways, so those are my suggestions. Chris, did you come up with anything?
So I think the first thing that I would suggest is A Brief History of 7 Killings by Marlon James. It's a bit of a misnomer. It's not brief. It's a long-ass book. It's not brief. But it's a fictionalization of some of the political turmoil in Jamaica in the late 70s into the early 80s. And it's all centered around an assassination attempt on Bob Marley. So it's fictionalized. I think Bob Marley is just referred to as the singer throughout it. And the book, it's written in a really deep first person. So it's almost, it reads like an oral history. And so you get, it indulges kind of it indulges some of the stuff that's appealing about fiction, and also kind of feels like nonfiction in a certain way. And it's one of my favorite things I've read in the last few years. It's a long book, but it's a satisfying book. And I was at my happiest reading it after I'd kind of learned all the different characters' voices, and you just kind of pick them up from the way they were talking on the page. I'm very interested in that in literature, and I think James does that really, really skillfully in that book. If you're looking for straight up nonfiction and true crime, and stuff about identity, I haven't read this in a while, but a few years ago I read The Devil's Highway by Luis Alberto Urrea. And it's about a stretch of the desert, I believe in Arizona, which is especially dangerous for people who are coming across into the U.S. from Mexico. It's just this really arid stretch of desert where a lot of people die, and it follows a group of people across the desert and what happens to them. And it's a really great read. I think it continues to be timely as the U.S.-Mexico border continues to be, unfortunately, a hotly contested thing. And I think it really humanizes the struggles of a lot of people who are trying to come into the U.S.
I love that book.
Thank you.
It's so good.
And if you haven't read I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara, that's true crime about the Golden State Killer, a serial killer who finally just got caught right after the book came out. And I remember I was reading it last summer, 2018, and I had a rough week when my wife was out of town. And I really wanted to read the book, but I was scared to read it while I was home alone. Because even when with my family in the house, I'd be scared to read it before bed, then get up and use the bathroom before I went to sleep. Because I'd be like, this guy's going to be in there. It's terrifying. It's one of the scariest things I've ever read. And if that sounds appealing to you, it's also really, really well researched and fascinating true crime.
I have it, and I haven't read it because I'm scared to read it.
Dude.
But I love true crime. But when I read Helter Skelter, have you ever read that?
I have not.
Okay, so I was living in New York, and this is what a scaredy cat I am. I was so excited. I loved the book, but I was like, I can't read it at night because it's too scary. So I was reading it in the day. And then one day I forgot to pack a book in my bag for the night. So I'm on the subway and I'm reading it. And then I'm in Times Square and it's late. And I don't know have you ever lived in New York?
I did, yeah.
Sometimes it's they stop and they leave the doors open for a few minutes because something else is going on and you're just waiting.
Yeah.
So this happened for 5 minutes. And I was living on Upper West Side and I'm in Times Square. So I'm 30 blocks away. And I finally was someone's coming to murder me. So I just get off the train and walk the rest of the way home at 1 a.m. because that is safer, obviously, than just being on the train because the book was so in my head. So I can feel the fear. Okay, Shar, well, let us know if you read any of those books and what you think. But I co-sign Chris's recommendations. Those are two books the first two are two books I've loved. And speaking of two books I love, your turn. What are two books you love and one book you hate?
Two books that I love. Signs Preceding the End of the World by Yuri Herrera and New People by Dan Z. Senna.
New People comes up a lot on the show.
Oh, okay, good.
I have a lot of mixed friends, and almost all of them always say it.
Oh, man. Yeah. That was one that I wouldn't read while I was working on my book because I was it's either going to psych me out or I'm going to find out that she did what I was trying to do better or...
Totally different.
It's very different, thank goodness, but it's so good.
So good.
Yeah, my wife is especially interested in women narrators who have a mental illness or some kind of borderline personality, and it's not attributed to something that men did. So It isn't she was abused by a guy and now she's like this. It's just this person is psycho and we're not going to explain why. Maria
is one of the most memorable characters I've ever read.
Man, same. Yeah. Unnerving.
Yes.
And for books I hate, I don't know. I couldn't finish Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. I tried twice. I didn't hate it. I just wasn't feeling it.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You're allowed to not feel something. What's the last great book you read?
I just finished reading Your House Will Pay by Steph Cha. And it's set here in LA. It's about two families that were involved in the LA riots, a black family and a Korean family. And about the ways that some of the violence in that era continues to ripple through their family, about those consequences. The book just came out this week. It's awesome. I stayed up late reading it, which is a lot to say because I'm a parent.
Right. I have it. I want to read it. I have a little bit of an obsession with the LA riots.
Yeah.
Because it happened when I was kind of in that I guess, 92?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. And then OJ was right after. So like that whole time it happened and I remember it, but I didn't understand it. And then when I relearned about it later, I was like, oh my God. Cause I was like 6 and 8 when those things happen.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah. I remember. Yes, it's very good. I remember that Anita Hill kind of coming just before that. It was a few years of like pretty messed up stuff. And I was just a little bit too young to fully.
Yeah. And then now as an adult, I'm like, I'm obsessed with this.
Yeah.
Cause it was just recently. Well, no, not. I say it was just recently the anniversary, but no, it was when we were moving out here in 2012 was the anniversary of the riots, right? They're 92.
Yeah.
It's not recent at all, but we're actually coming up on the next big anniversary sooner than the last one. But what are you reading right now?
I'm reading The Lager Queen of Minnesota by J. Ryan Strattle. I'm interviewing him at Vroman's in a few weeks.
Oh, you are?
So I'm doing my homework,
Very
and I'm enjoying doing my homework.
Yeah?
Yeah. He just has a good way of, he just puts a really good story together. You know, it's like kind of serendipitous in this really enjoyable, like fun way that just leads you along and with really, really good characters. And there's food and beer in there. And I like both those things.
That helps.
And he writes, I like his format. He writes these really short sections and they always just have like the last line or two is always just a crusher. Yeah.
Okay. I have to check it out. I'd never even heard of it. And someone else mentioned it when I was interviewing them. I think they were also reading it. I mean, it just came out, right?
Yeah, it came out this summer or fall. Yeah, Jay Ryan, he lives here in LA.
Oh, really?
Good people. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. What are you looking forward to reading?
Well, I'm blurbing some forthcoming stuff by Ed Lin, Joey Poole, and David Puritz.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to kicking into all those.
So do you decide you're going to blurb before you read?
Yeah, generally. It'll be like, will you blurb my book or will you blurb this book?
And then you say yes, and then you read it.
Yeah, there have been a couple times where I said, well, let me check it out. Then I had to awkwardly be like, I don't think I'm the right person for this job.
Is that because you didn't like the book? Or is that because you really didn't think you were the right person?
I was not the right person for the job because I did not like the book.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. I kind of never really thought about how that works. I always kind of thought that it was you just send your book to everybody and then you just like write an email. It's like, here's my book. If you like it, will you blurb it? I never thought it was actually will you blurb it? Yes or no? And then you read it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big ask to ask another writer to sit down and spend enough time to give your book a close read and say something nice about it.
You also have amazing blurbs on your book.
Oh,
you have really cool people.
Thanks. It really made me feel like I was part of something. Getting
Yeah.
endorsements from all these writers whose stuff I love.
Yeah, before I started doing this podcast, I never read blurbs. And I still don't really read the blurbs, but I do like to see who has blurbed them.
Yeah, I think the name is more important than the words.
I think so too. Because the words are generally positive.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to put like, I like the book, but I had some problems with.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. You can skip chapter 6.
Yeah. How do you pick your next book if you're not blurbing it?
How do I? It depends. Sometimes I get books suggested. I have a list in the Notes app in my phone. It also depends what's available at the library. I'm a big library person. And I'm kind of slowly but surely accumulating books. My to-read shelf is just on top of my dresser. Okay. So I'm not allowed to go off the dresser. Oh. So I'll try to get something off of there if there isn't a library book that I've had on hold for 2 months that's finally available or something.
That's so quaint. Just one shelf.
Oh.
My husband would really appreciate if I could figure out a way to do that.
I'm not a big keeper of books.
Okay. What do you do with them?
I often get them from the library.
Okay.
Or I give them to other people who I think would like them. If it's signed, if it's got my name in it and the author's name, like those are the ones that I'll definitely keep.
Yeah.
Or if it's something that I know I'll return to a lot if I'm teaching from it or that I know I'll want to reread.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, where do you teach?
I do teaching work for Writing Workshops LA, and I'm starting with UCLA Extension in a few weeks as well.
Very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, the long hustle. I want to be a professor.
What will you teach? What class do you teach?
I'm teaching a novel writing class for UCLA and for the UCLA Extension, which is the night school.
Okay.
And for Writing Workshops LA, I do different things. I mainly like specific seminars, like writing dialogue, writing music, writing like diverse characters who might have had different experiences than you. And I'm doing a seminar on how to get a literary agent in a few weeks.
Whoa. Because your first book, you self-published, right?
No, it was like a very small press, and I did it without an agent, which was not a wise idea.
Yeah. No. And then your second book, you got an agent.
I did. So, yeah, I worked with an agent and took a step up and working with a bigger press.
Did you know that you wanted to get an agent, or was someone like you were talking to another friend who'd published a book and had an agent and they were like, this is so much easier, and you were like watching them and then you realized, or did you know going into Black Card you weren't going to do it unless you had?
I wanted an agent.
Okay.
I knew that was like the smartest way to be agents are, gatekeepers.
Right.
And so working with an agent can help me get my book somewhere where I couldn't have gotten it on my own. And I think that that's something to look for in a publisher too, is somebody who can make your circle a little bit wider.
Right.
The first book, I was looking for an agent when I got an offer from a small press. And I was kind of like, this is what's the expression about like a bird in the hand versus two in the bush.
Right.
And it seemed like I could have a lot of creative control over the book, and could have a book out pretty quickly. And it was a definite.
How did you get that book? Because that book was pretty well acclaimed. Like you won some awards or were on some lists and things. I can never remember that I won an award on a list, but you were recognized for your first book. How did that happen?
So the first book is called Zero Fade, and the publisher sent it out. They still were doing marketing and publicity. It wasn't like it was just like one other person.
Well, right, of course.
Yeah. So they got it in a few places, and hopefully, and that might have even helped to set the groundwork for me taking a step up with Black Card. It was. It felt good to be able to contact literary agents. Like, my last book got like these best of 2013 lists.
Right. Right.
What can you do for me?
Yeah.
That sounds cocky, but it definitely helped. I think it helped open some doors and start some conversations.
Got it. Well, that's cool that you're teaching.
I love teaching.
You do?
Yes.
And you want to be a professor?
I do.
Of?
Creative writing.
Creative writing. Did you get an MFA in creative writing?
Yeah, at Columbia College, Chicago.
Oh, okay.
10 years ago.
Do you recommend that people do that who want to be writers?
It depends how you feel about debt. Like, sure. Or if you can get into a program that won't have you in debt.
Right.
By all means, do that. I mean, every month I'm paying off part of my student loans, and it's like, this could be going to a mortgage payment instead.
Right.
But if I wasn't paying this, I'd probably be like depressed, drunk, and watching CSI every night. So
why not do both?
Yeah. I mean, it turned me into a writer, and it gave me the time to focus and help me kind of find my voice. It was very, very helpful for me as a creative person. I went from someone who wanted to write to being a writer.
Yeah.
And my thesis was my first novel, so it went well.
Okay, so that worked out for you.
Yeah. Now I just got to pay off these loans.
Right. It's fine. You're getting there. Do you feel like it's easy for you to refer to yourself as a writer?
Yeah, because I don't really do much else.
Okay.
I'm a parent and I'm a runner and I cook. And those are all parts of my identity as well. But yeah, I'm a writer. I mean, that's what I do. That's how I make my living. So.
Yeah. You just said I'm a runner. The reason that made me think of that is I started running a long time ago and I never referred to myself as a runner. Mm-hmm. And then it wasn't until I read that book, Born to Run. Have you read that book?
No.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's amazing. It sounds really corny and dumb. It's really, really good. But they talk about it's the same thing you hear. If you do this thing, you are a blank. So if you run, you're a runner. But it was really hard for me to get my mind around it, even though I've run marathons and I'm a runner. Yeah. But I don't think of myself as a runner. So I was wondering if it was challenging to call yourself a writer. Because I know some people do the weird thing where they're like, oh, I've written a book. But they don't say, I'm a writer.
Oh, I do. I had a lot of angst about that as I was first starting to publish short stories. Mm-hmm. And, this was maybe 10 years ago. And when do I make the jump where I can be like, yeah, I'm a writer. And I think once I had a book out and I am the author of this book, therefore I am an author. Like,
right.
That's when I was just like, yeah, there's no turning back.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're like, I did it. Check. I'm a writer.
Yeah. One of my professor's husbands actually checked me on that. He's like, no, you made this book, so you're an author. Stop hedging on me.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Well, I know it's something people could be insecure about or weird about.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. What's a book that you like to recommend to people?
And I think it depends on the person. Like it's like if you're having a dinner party,
right?
You don't want to be like, I had some vegetarians coming over.
Right.
Now's the time to bust out the fried chicken,
right?
But I suggested Mira Corpora by Jeff Jackson to my wife. I suggested Turner House by Angela Flournoy to a friend, and those both went over well. Yeah.
So you don't do like a go-to. You don't have like some go-to recs.
No, I don't think anything. I don't think anything is for everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Except Black Card by Chris Terry.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the only book I recommend. I agree with you, but I definitely feel like I have books that depending, like if someone, I'm like, what do you like? And then I go like, route A, route B, route C.
Yeah.
What's the last really good book that someone recommended to you?
Jim Ruland and Todd Taylor, who I know through writing for Razor Cake magazine.
Okay.
It's like a punk magazine. They suggested Sarah Grand's Claire DeWitt novels to me.
Huh.
Claire DeWitt is a sleuth. It's like an update on detective noir type tropes.
Okay.
With this like drug gobbling, cynical Gen X woman who lives in San Francisco. So
Okay.
she's like smokes some embalming fluid and is like trying to solve a crime. And
Whoa.
yeah, so I really, really enjoyed that. I like crime novels a lot. And this was a nice twist on it because, I love like Raymond Chandler, but then, it's definitely a very straight white male, few generations back perspective. And it can be hard to fully enjoy that, fully commit.
Would you ever write in that world?
I'd like to. I feel like I'm more of a character driven writer.
Okay.
And so I envy the facility with plot that it takes to write a book like that. But I will eventually try to write like a mystery or a crime novel or something. I even like Black Card started out as an attempt at a crime novel, and those type of subplots, like those went away.
Those went away.
Yeah.
Do you have genres that you are super not into that you might avoid?
I don't think I've ever read a romance novel, but
Okay.
I mean, I could read one tomorrow and love it.
Right.
No.
You're open.
Yeah.
And then what are your go-tos besides mystery, thrillery?
Yeah, mystery and crime stuff. And I've gotten into audiobooks in the last year or so. And that's a good way to listen to anything with a strong first-person narrator. So a lot of those crime novels have that, and that's something I like in a book. It's also a good way for me to listen to anything that I'm not trying to like study the craft of as much. So celeb memoirs, like
Brilliant.
yes.
Brilliant on audiobook.
Yeah. Speaking of Wu-Tang Clan, You Gods is just like
Is
having
it?
this 50-year-old from Staten Island yelling at you in the passenger seat of your car for 4 hours. It was great.
Was it?
Yeah.
Are you into sports at all?
I'm not. I do like good writing about sports, though.
Okay. It's not writing about sports, but one of the best audiobooks I've listened to this year, and I would say it's pretty niche, but it's so good, is Andre Iguodala. He plays for the Golden State Warriors, or he did. He's not on the team anymore. But he has a memoir called The Sixth Man, and he's been in the NBA since 2001 or 2. Or he's a journeyman, and he talks about all of these players that he was on Allen Iverson's team. Obviously, he was with Steph Curry in them, but he also talks about racism in the NCAA and the plantation mentality of the NBA. It's just really well done. He's so smart and thoughtful. And I was like, I'm a huge basketball fan and I love the Warriors. So I was like, I'm going to read it because I love Andre Iguodala. But I actually think it's good if you don't like him. But I don't know if you would like it if you don't like basketball.
No, that sounds interesting. 'Cause I am like intrigued by what it would be like to be in a professional sports league.
Yeah.
And I think that people who are like maybe slightly overlooked are the really good observers and the storytellers. And Ugod, the Wu-Tang guy, he's like one of the less famous.
Yeah, he's
members
like
of
down
group.
the ranks.
Yeah. And so he has a kind of a sort of, he's there, so it's an inside perspective, but it's not like he's like, this is me crushing it. You know?
Right. It's not like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have to protect
Yeah, that's a really good
the
way to put it.
brand or whatever.
Right.
It's like you can be observant. That's kind of how this book is. And the thing that's even crazier about it is that he doesn't actually do the narration. He has a guy, like there's a reader, and the reader is so good. And usually I feel like when it's a memoir, you want to hear the person. But I don't think Andre Iguodala could do it as good as this guy. I mean, obviously he's a professional audiobook reader, right?
Yeah.
But he's so good. It's so good.
That's a real job, is like, leaving it. I do like the idea of leaving it to a pro, unless it's like a famous person.
Right. Totally.
Yeah. I'm listening to Miles Davis's autobiography right now, the audiobook rather. And it's actually a voice actor like doing a Miles Davis impression the whole time.
Okay.
It was real jarring for the first 20 minutes. Now I'm pretty into it.
Okay. I feel like that's like kind of cringeworthy, but if it works, it works.
I feel like my wife would laugh her ass off at me if she heard it, but
She like walked in the room and you were listening like on the speaker. Okay.
yeah, because he has like this kind of low, scratchy voice. It sounds like someone making fun of a jazz dude, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I actually, just to jump ahead to next week, I didn't start. In the middle of We Cast a Shadow, I listened to about 20 pages just because I wanted to hear what it was like. And the guy who does it is really good.
I agree. I I feel like he added a whole other dimension to it. Like my read of the book was a little bit more like nervous and kind of like clammy and a little bit removed from all the pill popping that was going on.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like the narrator brought out the humor in a certain way.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, we'll save everything else about that. I didn't mean to do that.
Sure.
Do you have a favorite bookstore?
Yeah, SO1 Books on Degnan and Leimert Park in Los Angeles. It's my neighborhood bookstore. And the first time I went in there, they had my first book, Zero Fade, on the shelf. That book didn't have a whole lot of reach. So they really had me with that. They also carry a lot of stuff that I like. I trust their taste.
And like two guys who run it.
Yeah.
They always will give you a million recommendations.
Yes, they
great. Know every book in the store.
They do. Yeah.
Like if you're like, oh, what do you think about this? They're like, oh, well, this and this, and I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
It's also my favorite bookstore here in LA, and it's so little.
Yeah.
And Barack Obama was there.
Yes.
When he did his Dreams from My Father.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of the podcast The Nod?
No. What is that?
It's a love of Black culture podcast. Basically, it's kind of like a mix between the read and still processing, if you will.
Okay. I think. Who's the host?
Her name is Claire, and his name is like Eric or something.
Okay, I think I did listen to that before. Keep going.
Anyways, they do this thing called 6 Degrees of Black Separation, and they take like crazy people, different people. And I should say, shout out to Jason Reynolds. He's the one who told me to listen to the podcast, and now I'm hooked. But they will take, like they did one for music, and they took old school music people and new school music people, and they pulled the names out of the hat. And so they had to connect Curtis Mayfield to Lizzo. And I was like, that's impossible. And it took them a really long time. But when I read your book, I was able to do it because Curtis Mayfield is mentioned in your book 2 times. Yeah. And you had your reading at S1 Books. And so did Barack Obama, who listened to Lizzo this summer and put her on his list of music.
Oh, that's good.
And I was like, this is so cool.
I was thinking there'd be a woodwind connection between like maybe some flutes on a Curtis Mayfield.
Yeah, I did no connection to actual music because I don't know anything about music like that. Like it's way too intense. But when I just listened to the episode and then I was reading your book and I was like, oh my God, I can do it. It's so easy.
I'll sit in between Curtis Mayfield and Lizzo. That sounds good.
Yeah, and Barack Obama, the 4 of you just hanging out casually.
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, it's done. Talk about someone who's not Lizzo, who's not Black, right? In the way that we assume that you have to be Black. I'm sure she got that all the time playing flute.
Yeah, that's an unusual instrument, probably.
Yeah. I mean, that's an unusual instrument, I think, period.
Yeah.
But I don't know much about it.
She's making me like the sound of the flute. I was watching some videos of her playing. I was like, oh, okay, this makes it work. Okay.
She's like a legit flautist.
Yeah.
That's the term for a flute player.
Oh, I know.
What's the last book you bought?
The last book that I bought? I feel like I shouldn't have to write that one down, right? I know I recently bought Bottom Feeders, which is a graphic novel by Ezra Clayton Daniels and Ben Passmore.
Oh, Ben Passmore.
Yeah. He did some. Do you know Ben? Or do you know his work?
Someone brought him up on this podcast before.
Okay.
He does comic things.
Yeah. And
he's in How We Fight White Supremacy. He has a comic in there, I think.
That sounds about right. Yeah, his best known thing is called Your Black Friend.
Yes.
Which is about being kind of a punky activist type.
Yes.
Yeah. So Ben illustrated the story that Ezra wrote, which is kind of like a horror story about gentrification. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
They're friends of mine. We have like a DeBarge type of crew of light-skinned dudes. We all hang out together.
I love that. What's the last book that made you laugh?
I'm laughing at Jay Ryan's book, at the Lager Queen of Minnesota. There's one of the main characters is a woman named Edith who's like just kind of oppressively practical.
Okay.
And she has these really judgy ways of describing people who are not.
Okay.
And those little one-liners are making me laugh.
Okay. Last book to make you cry?
Oh, okay. The last book that made me cry, Ian Campbell Swarty, he wrote a book called The Bull Loving Truth. And it's like a memoir as an artist. And a lot of it is about a mutual friend of ours who passed away in 2008.
Oh.
So it gave me some time to kind of linger with my friend's memory. And also learn some uncomfortable stuff about that friend's like last days.
Oh, that's tough. Yeah. Okay, well, let's make it feel a little better. What's a book that brings you joy?
A book that brings me joy. Every book that I finish, I would say. Because if it doesn't bring me joy, I'll put that shit down after like 75 pages.
You'll go as deep as 75 pages.
I think 75 pages is when I check in.
Are you a fast reader, would you say?
It depends on the book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a super fast reader. So 50 for me is like, that's like an hour plus of my time.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the book. What about a book that you feel proud to have read?
So I didn't grow up religious at all.
Okay.
But in college, I took a class called The Bible as Literature.
Okay.
Because I wanted to know what was going on in there. And
Okay.
I figured if I wanted to write books that a lot of people have read this one, right?
Right.
So I better check out what's going on in here.
So you read it.
So I read it. I didn't go like front to back on it, but
Okay.
we read a lot of the Bible over the course of that semester. And so I got a kind of a knowledge of the contents of it. And I'm glad that I forced myself to do that. I didn't have a religious transformation or anything, but
Got it.
I've learned a lot about history and storytelling.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
so interesting. Do you like the class?
Yeah, it was fascinating.
Sounds good.
There was like one person in there that just couldn't get around the as literature part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So they were like treating it as scripture?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. And
It's
a
like-
lot of the class was talking about like the context for when some of the stuff was written, which goes against the idea of it as scripture.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. What about a book that you're embarrassed that you've never read?
I can't think of one off the top of my head. Like I'm relatively young. I got time. If I haven't read it yet, I'll get to it.
Is there anything on your bucket list that's like, I got to get to this. This is one I like must read before I die kind of thing.
When Toni Morrison passed, I was like, I really should read Beloved. So I bought a copy of that.
Okay, you should read it, but let me tell you, I'm gonna make your life better. We did Beloved on the show
Uh-huh.
in May, and I can take basically zero credit for this episode, but it is one of my favorite episodes of the podcast because my guest Damaris Hill breaks the book down for you. It's gonna change. Read the book and then listen to the podcast. You're gonna feel like you've had a religious experience. Like
Wow.
she just blows the book up. Like it's amazing what she does. And I was sitting there, she's a professor, and I was sitting there being like, can I come just audit all of your classes? Like, how have you done this? So if you need something to like help you, motivate you to actually sit down and do it, just know that there's an episode of The Stacks waiting for you that is pretty incredible.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
not because of me.
It seems like it's going to require a deep dive. The book
Yeah.
is, and I might even do some preliminary reading and homework just to get some context for
Yeah.
some of the stuff I could be looking for while I read.
Yeah, definitely. But it was
Okay.
good. I didn't like the book that much. And then I did the episode. And then now I love the book.
Okay.
Because I was like, oh, I get it now. I didn't get it.
Yeah, I do often have a hard time with books where I feel like I think that I prefer when the author considers it their job to like make the reader's job easy.
Right.
And I don't know if that's what's going on in Beloved or not. I have the
No,
idea it's
I don't know
pretty
that.
complicated.
I don't know I don't think that from what I've read of Toni Morrison, that would be her philosophy, right? I don't
Yeah.
know that that's her approach, but it makes a book like Beloved. Damaris said she read the book like 5 or 6 times.
Mhm.
So it makes going back and rereading it still a rich experience.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes if the book is too easy for the reader, it's like, I don't need to read that again. I got it.
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't know. I will reread Beloved simply because I want to reread it after having had that conversation.
Okay.
But yeah, check it out. Check out the episode, everyone, if you've read Beloved. It's freaking amazing. Let's see. We'll do a few more. Do you have any favorite books about where you grew up? So I guess for you, it could be Boston or Richmond.
Huh. There aren't a lot of books set in Richmond, which is one of the reasons I like setting my books there. Like even Cowgirls Get the Blues kind of starts there.
Okay.
Books set where I'm growing. Honestly, no.
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 What about favorite books assigned to you in school?
I think the one that left the biggest impression on me was reading the autobiography of an ex-colored man by James Weldon Johnson in a Harlem Renaissance literature class. It's like, oh, okay, this is a way that like a mixed race black story could be told. A passing narrative. It was the first time I had any idea of that concept, and
Right.
yeah, and that definitely got me started on a path that started kind of opening up some permission for me to tell stories that tell my stories.
Right.
You know, instead of being like, well, Ernest Hemingway's writing about like some writers who are jealous of each other.
Less interesting for you.
Yeah.
What would you assign if you were teaching in high school?
I was teaching in high school. You know, I just finished Dealing in Dreams by Lilium Rivera. And it's cool. It's about kind of Warriors-esque girl gangs in a futuristic city. And about like the patriarchy was overthrown and it's been replaced with something that's maybe just as dangerous. So I think it raises a lot of questions about power and about thinking critically about everything that you're told. And I think those are valuable things to consider when you're a teenager, when you're in school. If I was a high school teacher, it might be kind of hard to be like, so don't listen to the people who are in charge, but sit down and shut up and listen to me.
Don't you feel like that's a lot of books that you're taught in high school, though? When you think about it, it's a lot about like fuck authority, even though it's like school.
Yeah, I remember we read One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 10th grade. And my teacher's like, you kind of remind me of McMurphy. Then he got a lobotomy at the end. I was like, hey, wait a minute.
Like, what are you trying to say about me? Yeah, I feel like a lot of books, I just you saying that, I'm like, well, like, I don't know, Brave New World and those like kind of like dystopian books or utopian dystopia,
Yeah.
Anyways. Okay. Speaking of utopia and dystopia, here's the last one. If you could require the current president of the United States to read one book and we'll assume that he will understand it and we'll read it.
Okay.
What would you pick?
So you preempted a few of my jokes here.
A lot of people have the follow up, like, will he get it? Does he get Cliff Notes? Like, we'll assume that he gets it.
Right. 3 Simple Steps to Go Fuck Off and Die. That book.
Is that a book?
I'm about to write it.
Oh, okay. Amazing. I was like, wait, no one's ever said that, but that's a great book title. Great. Perfect.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I don't have a simple solution for what ails that person. So,
no.
That's all. That's the simple
a lot
solution.
Of books. Okay. So next week, Chris is back. We're talking about We Cast a Shadow by Maurice Carlos Ruffin. We will spoil the book. We're going to talk about it in detail. So if you haven't read it yet, you still have a week to get to it. Chris, thank you for being, go get Chris's book, Black Card. It's out in the world. It's been in the world since September? August
13th.
August 13th. So it's been out in the world for a little bit. If you haven't gotten it yet, get your hands on a copy wherever you get your books. Go to your library. Do what you need to do. Chris, thank you for being here.
Tracy, thanks for having me on.
And we will see you guys in the stacks. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and a huge thank you to Chris L. Terry for being my guest today. Chris will be back next week for the Stacks Book Club conversation of We Cast a Shadow by Maurice Carlos Ruffin. Find everything we discussed on today's episode in the show notes. Remember, you can get your book recommendation read on air by sending it to askingthestacks@gmail.com. For more from The Stacks, follow us over on social media at The Stacks Pod on Instagram and at The Stacks Pod _ on Twitter. And check out our website, thestackspodcast.com. To join the Stacks Pack and get inside access to this show, go to patreon.com/thestacks. Make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you get your podcast. And if you're listening through Apple Podcasts, please rate and review the show. Our graphic designer is Robin McCrite, and our theme music is from Tagirigis. This show was created and produced by me, Tracy Thomas, and I will see you in the Stacks.